Hey there people, today I want to talk about a book that I bought like a year ago. And I actually didn't like it in the beginning. I'm also not quite sure if that might change again because now I like it. But there's a lot of talk about mindset. There's one chapter, chapter 4 is like sports, the mindset of a champion. And it's about the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. And discovered so much interesting stuff. I just want to share it with you if you need some motivation. You know, I always like those sort of self-help books that help you understand something and also help you understand yourself better, because I think when it comes to learning a craft or a skill or getting better at stuff, it helps if you have a good mindset. And people often struggle with beliefs that are not realistic at all. So for example, I know a lot of students think that first of all, a lot of students think either you have it or you don't, either you have talent, or you don't have any talent. And I really don't believe in talent, right? Because when I started to play guitar, I was maybe 16, and some years later I joined some like national big band, if you want to. And there were always people who were like hyped. So there were always persons who were extremely good at what they did. Very often there were drummers or saxophone players, and they were like pushed by the teachers, and everybody was talking about their abilities and their skills and that they're like naturals, right? Nothing pisses me more off than that, but guess why, right? Because I'm a woman, and yes, I'm a natural, right? And people don't refer to women as naturals, I have the feeling at times, but rather to men, at least in my world, which is a lot of male energy, the jazz world. But anyways, what I wanted to say is I witnessed some really great players. They were really young, and then they were really like pushed to the best colleges, going to New York City. And it seemed everything was going so very well for them. But some of them also hit a ceiling sort of, and at a certain point, they had to understand that there are still other players who are much better or more skilled or have been practicing more. And then they were so super frustrated with this fact, because they always have been like, you know, the prodigy, and all of a sudden they haven't been the prodigy, that some of them just like stopped playing altogether because they couldn't cope with the fact that all of a sudden it didn't come natural anymore, and they maybe didn't put in the practice and like the discipline, the practice routines that you need to be really great, right? And then some of them just stopped. So I just want to read some quotes from the book and what I think about it. They have a lot of sports examples. So this is Sports, the Mindset of a Champion, chapter 4. And right, music is not sport, but there's a lot of insight that we can understand and apply to our jazz sport, which it sometimes becomes, right? So first of all, there's a baseball player who has a feeling like if he ever, I have to quote, if he ever makes an out, and I don't know what that means, but it's a mistake apparently, he is not allowed to do it. He's not allowed to do one thing that is wrong. Because this person, who was also like a prodigy maybe in baseball, he was convinced that it has to come natural, right? And if it doesn't come natural, sort of you as a whole person are not good enough. And I found myself so much in this, because I realized that I have a mixed mindset, right? A fixed mindset, because if I play a melody on the guitar, right? So also in a lesson with a student, so the melody is always the thing here, because the melody is where everybody can hear if you fuck it up or not. If you're playing a solo, you have much more liberty, and actually you have a lot of liberty with the melody as well. But anyways, when I play a melody and I play a wrong note, I feel so extremely ashamed, and I'm sure I can't play the guitar. And I think I have been playing the guitar for so many years. Why the fuck can't I play this melody? Needless to say, I rarely or never practice the melody. I play a lot of standards through the week, never sit down to practice one melody, really like get it down. But just I expect myself that I can play it, any melody sort of, because since I've been playing for such a long time, it sort of had to change my playing, and then there's this magical moment where I just like sort of can play everything. And yes, so I'm also not practicing it, also feeling deeply ashamed, and also very much going into this black and white. Good guitar player, not so good guitar player. Fucked up one note on the melody, trash, it's over, get out. So that's how I still think, and going to read a quote of the fixed mindset. So the fixed mindset is, you can't change. Either you have it or you don't. You can't get better at anything, right? Because either you have the talent and then everything is going to be super easy, of course, then, or you don't have it, right? So natural talent should not need effort. Effort is for the others, the less endowed. Natural talent does not ask for help. It is an admission of weakness. In short, the natural does not analyze his deficiencies and coach or practice them away. The very idea of deficiencies is terrifying. But then there's this other baseball player, which is not so great or not like a prodigy, right? But he understands that mindset is more important than everything. And that it's not always about winning or being the best. I mean, what does winning or being the best even mean in music? You tell me. But we can say it means that you can perform a tune with ease, that you can express yourself, right? And so it's not always about winning, but it's more about getting better or developing your skill, and see yourself or find yourself developing a skill and then get excited about that. So you're sort of just like measuring your success with yourself, not looking to others, what they can do, but rather to say, I'm going to set up a practice routine. I'm going to stick to it. That's already really success, because you're doing something. Many people don't do that maybe, but you're already setting up a practice routine. You're following it. You're evaluating yourself. You're maybe recording audio or video. You're coming back to those recordings, and you have the courage to look at them or hear them again and again, and you'll have the courage to find stuff that doesn't work, but of course also find stuff that works. And then you make another practice plan on top of that, thinking, on what stuff do I need to work on, right? You have that song, there's this one chord that doesn't work. It's not a fantasy in your mind, I'm going to play like this, or I think my timing is bad. It's not a fantasy, it's very rational. You look at the stuff you recorded, maybe with a teacher even, and you make some notes, and then you work on some very specific details, and this can be so much fun. So and then Malcolm Gladwell, he says like, people prize natural endowment, I can't pronounce it, endowment, over earned ability. And that also hit me so hard. That means basically we all want to have a superhero, right? Because if you look at social media, and myself too, I really like to find something that is very positive and light and everything is doable, whatever it is, finances, selling an online course, learning to play guitar, and I love it, you know, the people in this YouTube movie I always have a good mood, they're always dressed very beautifully, they live in a nice apartment, they have the most beautiful guitars, and everything is easy and it's so attractive, and I'm also attracted to it and want to believe that it's true. And if I'm having no motivation to practice, maybe I look for something like this so that it motivates me, right? but it's a fantasy. So we need to, I think we human beings need to have these fantasies. For example, with Kurt Rosenwinkel, I would rather think about him as a superhero who sort of course, practiced a lot and everything, but also had this insane talent, which I really think he has. But anyways, he's just not like a mere mortal. He has been born a different way, and I'm putting him on a pedestal. Sometimes I'm even putting players on a pedestal because I wanted to, because it will motivate me to really work on stuff. But also another way of looking at it is to think about them as relatively ordinary people who made themselves extraordinary. And this is so highly motivating, right? I just read the book from Arnold Schwarzenegger, 7 Rules for Life, which is highly motivating. And he talks about that all the time, like how he himself reinvented him. He comes from a small village in Austria, right? Nobody told him, go to the USA and be a famous bodybuilder or actor, right? And this is actually much more interesting because this is what also is in our reach. We can make ourselves better, and we can decide if we go to the gym maybe and get some extra energy and then have maybe a practice routine afterwards. Yeah, so I hope this is helpful for you. Let me know how you think about the fixed mindset or the growth mindset. I find it fascinating. And yes, I'm going to go back to practicing the guitar now. See you around. Bye.